Hi friends, welcome on YourPedia, and you're watching the module of Airport Authority of India Junior Executive and Manager Operations. And this video is related to General Principle of Management, which is a part of your paper B, part B, and it contributes 12 marks out of 60 marks. So I think 24 marks physics, 24 marks are for your mathematics part, and then you have 12 marks for this particular part, and it is easy to score. My today's lecture is related to human resource management. Before I go forward, let me tell you I'll be covering this HRM in 6 small lectures, brief lectures, for your easy to understand perspective. Keeping that in mind, we have made this HRM in 6 small lectures. Document will be provided to you, questions will be provided to you. HRM is a very important topic of General Principle of Management, because any operations, junior executive operations job deals with human resource and handling of the human resource. So human resource is one of the most crucial resources in the organization. There are other resources also, like manpower, which is human resource, material, raw material, money, capital resource, machine, other resources in the organization, and methods, processes which you follow. So these are a couple of resources. Now the most dynamic resource which appreciate with the passage of time, if skill is provided to it, is called human resource. Now human resource management means how to get right people for the right job on board, onboarding, that is recruitment, then their training, upskilling, and then further their retaining that talent, and then how to get the work done from that particular resource. That is called human resource management. So human resource management is a combination of many small managerial activities, that is called human resource management. Now let's start with this. So Airport Authority of India in 2026 July came out with these all jobs, and manager jobs and junior executive jobs. Junior executive jobs, 79 vacancies are for junior executive operations, and YourPedia is the platform which is providing you a preparation module for operations, whether it is manager or it is junior executive. So no job experience is required for junior executive, but for manager there are 2 years of job experience required. So any engineering graduate can write this exam. So qualification required is only that, and till 7th of September you can apply in this for this particular job till 7th September, and exam can be by the end of September. So just prepare this particular topic with mentors of YourPedia, and this is a pattern. So in paper 1 you have 60 marks, paper 2 60 marks. So there is a math, physics, and general principle of business management. In this general principle of business management, we are doing human resource management as one of the topics. This is a syllabus, if you see, which is provided to you, airport operations. General principle of management is business management. Detailed syllabus is not provided, but YourPedia on the basis of previous year papers is providing you all this learning content. So general principle of business management, that is the only line which is written here. So we are providing you the learning content for that, and this video is related to human resource management. This is lecture number 1, in which we are going to talk about human resource challenges. What are the various challenges of human resource? What is human resource function? What do we understand by that? Human resource, future human resource challenges, and strategic human resource management. So that is what we are going to discuss in today's lecture. These topics we are going to discuss today. Okay, so as I told you friends, human resource management is basically managing the human resource, and when we say managing the human resource, there are different kind of domains. As recruitment also will discuss that thing, recruitment, retaining, training, upskilling, and resolving their conflicts, and keeping them motivated. So conflict resolution theories, motivational theories, leadership theories, that everything comes under human resource management. It's a broad domain. When it comes to challenges, then human resource management actually is something which is the most important resource of organization. And there are so many challenges which organizations are facing nowadays due to technology changes. So upskilling is required, as you see now, because of AI. lot of jobs are going. That is also human resource management challenge, how to keep people on the job, how to upskill them. And then there is a competition in the market, and there is a, because of technology changes, globalization, workforce diversity, workers expectation, employees expectation. So there are different kind of challenges. We need to understand what are the typical challenges, and unless until you understand entire topic, it will be difficult for you to answer in the exam. So what kind of questions can be framed on the basis of this entire content, that is provided to you at the end of the lecture. So what are the core areas of challenges of human resource? Number one, talent management. Talent management is, there is a HR manager, human resource manager. So talent acquisition is one of the challenges. We have to get the right person for the right job, right? So right candidate which meets your requirement, getting that right person is a challenge. Acquisition, not only getting is difficult, but brain drain. If some high performer is there in your organization, obviously he has multiple opportunities, so retaining him, it becomes another challenge. And then there is a skill gap, like what skills we need in our workforce and what skills they have as of now. There is a skill gap, and how to plug that skill gap and how to basically upskill them, that is another challenge. So getting the talent, retaining the talent, and how to bridge the skill gap, that is the challenge of human resource management. Another challenge is fast evolving technology. As you know, technology is very fast changing. Now a lot of jobs are coming, a lot of jobs are going because of technology change. AI is example of that. So AI and HR technology, data privacy, complex technological things are there. So data driven decisions are to be done. So integration of human resource information system, artificial intelligence, automation. So it has changed the HR function a lot. So there is something which is called human resource information system, HRIS it is called. So human resource information system is basically automated centralized system where you have entire information and data of your HR, human resource, and then it is to be integrated with the artificial intelligence, and you have to automate the things. So technology improves the efficiency. HR professional face various challenges in implementation, data security. So all these things are there. Employee experience and culture. So to keep basically the employees motivated and they so that they don't get burnout means they feel very worn out, they feel very tired with the kind of work they are doing, boredom with the work they are doing. Maybe they are putting more effort consistently, and then how to basically relieve them from that. So burnout and how to keep them engaged, that is the main challenge related to employees. Work-life balance. So mental health, physical health, work with the increase in competition. As the competition increases, you have to basically become more creative, you have to become more effort oriented. So if you have to become more effort oriented and creative, obviously you have to balance your life, personal life also. So that work-life balance is another issue. Diversity, equity, inclusion, like diverse workforce, cultural differences and language barriers in the present workforce. So people are from different cultures, from different regions, different religious backgrounds, so different cultures and everything. So how to manage that, that is another challenge. Change management. Nowadays we are talking about work from home, hybrid mode of work, remote work. So how to ensure all these things go smooth. Organizational changes, employees sometimes resist and they do not basically align themselves perfectly with the changing requirement of the organization. So organization is working in a very competitive ecosystem. Any organization is working in competitive ecosystem. Now as the new technology competition comes or competition from the market comes, organizations are to evolve. Are the workers also evolving? That is the main challenge, right? Strategic alignment. Now HR should not be just like one domain or work domain. HR should be like, it should be strategic HR, strategic partner, not it should be one of the functions, managerial function or administrative functions. HR should be integrated function. It should be it should be like strategic partner. Like how can HR HR should not only do the work like recruitment, retaining, skill enhancement. No, HR should think from the perspective of organization and from the vision of organization. So how HR can be made strategic partner? Strategic partner, as you know, any organization grows because of the people working in that organization. So how can we make HR as a strategic partner, like they make the policies, they make the big decision for the organization, and they think of taking the organization forward rather than doing only routine job. That is called strategic HR. So these are strategic alignment of the HR activities. Skill gap and continuous learning is another challenge. So nowadays, because of the competitive market, there is a concept of Japanese concept which is called Kaizen. Kaizen is like continuous improvement. So because technology is evolving very fast, market is evolving very fast, market is becoming competitive, so it is very important that people who are working in the organization should also evolve themselves, and continuously they should innovate, they should learn, they should improve themselves, upskill themselves. Now that continuous learning is also a challenge, and to upskill your manpower is a challenge, because there is always a resistance to upskill and resistance to evolve. So how to keep our this entire manpower evolved in that direction? That is so knowledge based industries, technology driven industries, this thing is a main challenge. Workforce diversity, like gender, age, culture, education, there is a difference. So equal opportunities, no discrimination, harmonious relation, inclusive work culture. So whenever there is a diversity, there is a challenge also. Diversity, because how you will enhance the coordination among them, how you will make them communicate with each other, how you will make them adapt to each ecosystem, accept each other. So if there is no diversity, it has got some advantage, like they will gel up very effectively in the language terms or culture terms. If there is a diversity in the organization, obviously organization wants diversity, because different kind of people will come, and then it's a good for organization. But diversity brings some challenges, like different culture people, how they will get along with each other. Employee engagement and motivation. So how you will enhance the morale of the employees, how you will keep them engaged and motivated, so that they don't face job stress, work pressure, monotony, they don't face work-life balance, they don't face any trouble related to that. So how you will keep them going, that is the point. Performance management. So fair and transparent performance appraisal system is very, very important. So every employee expect some kind of appraisal, positive appraisal, enhancement in salary, growth, everything. So his growth depends upon appraisal, and that appraisal has to be done very objectively, not subjective appraisal. And normally employees will also compare themselves with others, like what other is getting, so those kind of comparison will be done. So a very unbiased objective appraisal metrics, performance metrics and appraisal system is to be designed. Compensation and reward management. So competitive compensation and reward to be provided for the performance, that is very, very important, how we can do that. Now conflict management and industrial relation, like a relation between employee and employee, employee and management and trade union. So that also is very, very important, how this thing is to be done. So legal and ethical compliance, like HR manager must ensure the compliance with labor laws, employment regulations, all these things are to be done. So legal and ethical compliance is very important. Work-life balance, employees well-being, these are the another challenges, and globalization and international HRM is the another challenge for this. So yes, data-driven decisions should be there, continuous learning is to be provided. So the solution to this thing is in the same, like this is how it is to be done. So these are the HRM modern challenges, and this entire thing is basically to be provided. So these are some of the challenges and some of the solutions for that. Okay, so now friends, about human resource management functions. So what are the various functions of HRM? What functions come? So we can divide these functions into some categories, like managerial functions and all. We can divide in some categories. So planning, organizing, directing, controlling, these are the typical functions of manager. And human resource management is also managing domain. So these are the functions of HRM also. So to achieve organization's objective, we need to do these functions, and we can divide all these functions of HRM into managerial and operative or operational. And as you see, Airport Authority of India has released two kind of jobs, one manager, one operations. that is executives. So this executive is operational job. So human resource manager, human resource management, like manager operations. So management operations, managerial activities and operational activities. So managerial functions and operational functions, these are the two main categories. So when it comes to strategic management of organization, then it comes overall activities of handling the workforce. It covers recruitment, onboarding, training, development, performance management, compensation, employee relations. So all these come into that, and these functions basically make sure that right people are hired at the right time and in a right way. So managerial functions of HRM are this, very, very important. So as we discussed that human resource management functions can be categorized into management functions and operation functions. Now these management functions we have discussed somewhere else also as functions of management: planning, organizing, directing, controlling. So these are main categories. Planning means you have to plan, like in terms of how much resource is required, human power resources required, how many people are to be hired, what should be their qualifications. So that entire planning phase. So right people are made available at the right time, at the right place, that is the planning. Organizing is like designing the structure, allocating the work, defining the authority, responsibility, proper coordination among the employees. So organizing is like whatever you have planned, now try to organize from where you will do it. Suppose planning is, okay, we want to hire 100 employees of this qualification. Organizing is, okay, now let's plan, let's see from where we are to hire it. So let's put advertisement here, let's put notice there, let's use these sources to hire these people. That is organizing. Now directing is like leading, supervising, communicating, getting the work done. Controlling is now seeing whether everything is going as per plan or not, comparing the actual performance with the standards which we have set up. So controlling is like monitoring, and directing is like executing. Organizing is like putting the things now together, whatever we planned. Planning is like making some kind of futuristic plans and identification of the resources, how much resources are required. So these are the four main broad functions, managerial functions of HRM. Then operational functions of HRM. So this deals with the employees who are working. So managerial functions were top management, maybe management which is sitting and which are planning, so the senior people, and this operations is at the ground level. So employee procurement, so recruitment, selection, placement, induction. So now HR manager will start recruiting the things, that is operations. So let's recruit the people as per our planning. Development, like okay, training and development program for increasing the skills of the employees. Compensation management, like salary administration, how much wages are to be provided, incentive is to be provided, remuneration is to be provided. So that entire compensation activities. So whatever HR manager does, that every activity is here as operations. So employees relations, so their conflict management is to be done, collective bargaining, grievance redressal, employee welfare and safety, health, safety, welfare measures of the employee, that everything is to be taken care of. So this is operation function. So understand that HRM, the main functions are managerial function of the HRM, and then operation functions. So managerial functions and operation functions of HRM. Then comes supportive, ancillary, auxiliary or emerging functions. So now supportive function is like human resource information system. So there is a system which stores, retrieves, analyzes or the entire data. So that is a technology. So we are making use of technology, and we are basically creating this human resource information system. Legal compliances, labor laws, employment regulations, ethical standards. Strategic human resource management aligns human resource policies with organizational strategies and making the policies for the organization. This is the third, that is basically the ancillary or auxiliary function of human resource management. So somebody asks you what are the HRM functions. There are three broad categories. One is managerial function, where you plan or organize, coordinate, everything. Second comes operations, hire, retain, recruit, train, everything. And then third comes is like strategic planning. Okay, let's think something which is not a routine HR activity. This is the supportive or emerging functions. this human resource information system is something which is a sort of ERP, enterprise resource planning kind of thing, like where a lot of data is collected at one particular centralized place about your HR, about your workforce, and you use it. Now comes challenges, future challenges of HRM, human resource management. So human resource management is also undergoing challenges, as we have seen, and these challenges are because of a lot of competition coming up, because of new technologies, because of new kind of diversified work cultures, new things coming up. So these new challenges are coming. So because of advanced technology, changing workforce demographies, like workforce demography means age group, etc. Which is coming. We talk about now Gen Zs are working in the office, so everybody knows their behavior. So there are good things also, there are some things which are to be improved also in Gen Zs, like work culture in the organization, typical work culture in the organization. So are they fitting into that organizational system or not? So managing technology disruptions, AI, automation, robotics, data analytics is transforming HR functions. Like whatever you used to do, performance appraisal, training, recruitment, now that is being challenged because of these technologies, and it is evolving. So HR manager must balance technology efficiency with human judgment now. So nowadays, because of these technologies, the HR functions are getting changed. The way you do HR things, that is getting changed, right? So as we know that AI has changed every aspect of life, and this HR is not separate. Human resource management is also getting changed. Skill obsolescence. So why most of the people, why many people in IT industries are losing their jobs? Because the skills they were having earlier, like coding and all, that is getting obsolete now. New skills are required, and continuous reskilling is required, continuous upskilling is required. Workforce diversity and inclusion. Future organizations will have diverse workforce in terms of age, gender, and everything. And managing this diversity and to manage the inclusion and equity will be a challenge, because diverse workforce means you will find that some very young kids, young workforce, young boys, girls will be working along with quite mature and senior people, and there will be a difference in the way they work, a difference in how they think, how they work, how they manage each other. So that kind of things, that challenges, how to manage that challenges will be difficult. So managing remote and hybrid work model. Now we talk about work from home kind of culture. So during COVID we found that many people were working from home only, and that culture eventually was transferred further. So that work from home culture, hybrid work culture that was there, how to manage that. Employee engagement and how to retain it. So employees have their expectations, they are getting opportunities. So how to organization can meet their expectations, and how to seek purposeful, how to get purposeful work from there, how to ensure career growth to them, well-being, flexibility. So how to retain the employees which you have skilled, that is another challenge. So skilling the employee. So the first challenge is getting the right employee, right kind of employee, and right kind of workforce, and then to upskill them, train them, and then to keep upskilling them, keep providing them this particular skills which are changing, and then to retain them. So challenges is at every stage. Hiring, there is a challenge. Retaining, there is a challenge. Upskilling, there is a challenge. So every stage there is a challenge. So these are the new challenges which are coming up nowadays. Mental health and employee well-being, because of the ever increasing competition and requirements to upskill and improve themselves, there is a stress or the pressure which employees may be facing on them. So work culture should be such that productivity is to be maintained and their morale should be high, without pressure, without stress. So ethical HRM and data privacy. So collecting large data is basically brings with it data privacy issues and ethical HRM issues. So when a lot of people, HR is all about handling the data of the human resource. So data of machine and data of human, this is difference. Data of human being has a data privacy issue. Data of machines may not be having privacy issue. So data of human being, there everything which you have stored, now there is a data privacy act also, so to maintain that data and keep that data intact. So that is a challenge, right? Data protection is important thing now. Globalization and cross cultural management. HR managers are to now take care of international labor laws, cross-cultural differences are there, global mobility is there. So these are the complexities of HRM. So strategic role of HR is shifting from merely an administrative function to strategic partner. So what is the meaning of HR as a strategic partner? That means HR should not only think itself of routine work like, okay, let's recruit, let's hire, let's train. That is the routine job, administrative work or managerial work or operations work. But HR is to think that how HR department can contribute to the growth of the organization, not running of the organization, but growth of the organization. And whenever you think of vision or growth of organization, you have to think of policies. So what policies can be made, how we have to think of making new policies and all. So should we hire new people or should we hire people who can do multitasking, where we can save the money or the resource of organization, something like that we have to think of. So sustainability and green HRM, now that is the latest thing we are talking about. So HR practices should be such that corporate social responsibility is a component of that. And corporate social responsibility means if your company is of some particular size where you can compulsorily go for 2% of your maybe profit into corporate social responsibility. There is a law, corporate social responsibility works under that law. So how to invest that particular money into green initiatives, that is another role of HRM, human resource management. So that corporate social responsibility is also part of that. And then future challenges are there, they are evolving, but they are to be handled. And if you adopt the technology driven solutions, and if you have strategic orientation, if you follow the ethical practices and the employee centric approaches, if you follow, then you can grow in future. That is how it can be done. Now let's talk about strategic management of HR. So what is the strategic human resource management? So how do you define it? Strategic, whenever the term strategic comes, that simply means long term. That simply means broad, long term, holistic, considering entire organization in future. So whatever is the basically vision, mission of the company, organization, what are the competitive strategies of the company, can HR also participate into that? So traditional HRM is different, routine administrative managerial activity is different, but strategic human resource management is basically HR policies are integrated with business strategies. So that gives sustainable competitive advantage. So what is the meaning of this? Strategy HRM is a process of formulating, implementing and evaluating HR strategies to basically fulfill the strategic objective of organization. See, typical routine HR is like how many employees are to be hired, how they are to be trained, what skill is to be imparted, how to keep them motivated, how to resolve their conflict. These are the routine jobs of HR. What is strategic? Okay, what do you want? What the organization want? In which direction organization wants to grow in future? Let's hire people according to that. So let's fulfill this particular objective. So when the HR starts thinking about the vision, mission of the organization, it becomes strategic HR. Objective is to align HR policies with the business strategies. Business means what the main strategies of the organizations are. Develop the skilled workforce, enhance organizational performance and productivity, long-term competitive advantage through HR, how shall we get that, and how shall we retain the people, which are very, very important. So what are the key elements? Strategic human resource planning. So make a plan to meet organization need in terms of skills, number, competencies. So hire the most important person, bring him on board, hire the most important people and retain them in the organization. Then comes talent management, focus on attracting, developing, retaining high potential employees through recruitment, career planning and all. Performance management system, strategic HRM uses the performance management to link individual goal with organizational goal. So continuous improvement is ensured. So performance management system actually has to be there. So these things are to be taken care of. Then training and development, compensation and reward strategies, employee engagement, cultural management, these all things are to be done keeping strategic objectives in mind. So HRM, strategic HRM is a strategic partner and it supports the change during restructuring and transformation of the organization. When organization is undergoing transformation, organization's adaptability and agility is ensured and it promotes innovation and knowledge management. So what is the advantage of strategic HRM? Obviously we get organization which actually is more growth oriented. We get the people who are strategically thinking about the growth of organization. So we are getting leaders, we are getting good people, we are getting competitive advantage. So these are the things. But yes, there are challenges also. Whenever we want the people who should see the vision of the organization, long-term vision of the organization, that is always a challenging because there is a lot of resistance in doing that. So these are some of the challenges, and obviously rapid technologies change, evolution is another challenge which is coming. So strategic management is like from typical routine job activities of HR to more strategic, goal oriented, objective oriented activities. So we have to fulfill the objectives of the organization. Then friends, a lot of questions which you have to do related to HRM. So a lot of questions which are related to human resource management. So our first lecture which we have discussed is like what are the various challenges of HRM, what are the various functions of HRM, what do we mean by strategic HRM, and in this we discussed human resource information system kind of things, what is the role of technologies, what are the managerial functions, operation functions, and some ancillary or auxiliary or additional functions of HRM. Those things we have discussed in first lecture. Questions please do, because questions will give you confidence, and there are 6 lectures of HRM, small lectures like this. This is the first lecture, 5 more lectures you do, and I'm very sure many things related to management principles you will learn through these lectures.